The millionaire abducted his best friend's bride, but wedding night exposed a shocking lie. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories like this one. Your support truly means the world to us. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let us return to the main character. His name is Ethan Cross, 38 years old, a self-made millionaire whose name appears on glass towers and foundation plaques across the city. To the public, Ethan Cross is disciplined, controlled, and untouchable. To his inner circle, he is the man who never loses. And tonight, on what should have been the happiest night of his best friend's life, Ethan Cross is about to cross a line he can never walk back from. The cathedral doors are already open. Music swells. Guests rise from their seats. Cameras are raised. At the far end of the aisle stands the groom, Ethan's best friend since college, smiling with a confidence that makes Ethan's jaw tighten. Because the woman about to walk toward that altar is not just any bride. She is Claire Whitmore, and she is the woman Ethan should never have touched. Claire stands behind the doors, lace veil resting against her shoulders, hands folded tightly at her waist. Her breathing is shallow. Not because she doubts the marriage, not because she is afraid of commitment, but because for the past 3 days she has felt watched, followed. Like the walls themselves are listening. When the doors begin to open, the first step she takes is interrupted by the sound of heels echoing sharply across marble. Not the wedding coordinator. Not a bridesmaid. Security. The music falters. A murmur ripples through the guests. And then Ethan Cross steps into view. He is not in a tuxedo. He is dressed in a dark, tailored coat, his expression unreadable, his presence heavy enough to drain the air from the room. The moment Claire sees him, the color leaves her face. Their eyes lock. This is not surprise. This is recognition. Ethan does not raise his voice. He does not make a scene. He simply nods once, and the guards move. "Ethan, what is this?" the groom calls out, laughing nervously. "This is not funny." Ethan does not look at him. His eyes never leave Claire. "Come with me," Ethan says calmly. "Now." The guests think it is a joke, a rich man's dramatic interruption. Someone even chuckles. Until Claire realizes the guards are not blocking the aisle. They are blocking the exits. Her heart slams against her ribs. She shakes her head. "I cannot," she whispers. Ethan steps closer, lowering his voice so only she can hear. "You promised you would not make me do this in public," he says. "Do not test me now." Her fingers curl into the fabric of her dress. "You said you would leave me alone," she whispers back. "I tried," Ethan replies. "You gave me no choice." And then, in front of everyone she loves, in front of the man she was about to marry, Ethan Cross takes Claire Whitmore by the hand and walks her out of the cathedral. No struggle. No screaming. Just silence so loud it follows them all the way to the waiting black sedan. The doors slam shut. The car pulls away. And just like that, the wedding is over. Inside the vehicle, the city lights blur past the tinted windows. Claire sits rigid, her hands clenched in her lap, her veil still pinned in place, like a cruel reminder of everything stolen from her. "You humiliated him," she says, her voice shaking. "You destroyed his life." Ethan stares forward. "I saved yours." She laughs sharp and broken. "You kidnapped me." "I enforced an agreement," Ethan replies. "One you signed." Claire turns to him, fury burning through her fear. "That contract was not real. You manipulated me." Ethan finally looks at her. "It is very real," he says, "and tonight you will become my wife." The car slows as iron gates slide open, revealing a sprawling estate hidden behind stone walls and towering trees. Lights glow in the distance. A mansion prepared not for celebration but for control. Claire swallows hard. "You cannot force love." Ethan's voice is steady, cold, and final. "I am not asking for love," he says. "This is a marriage of obligation. You will play your role. I will protect what needs protecting. And when the time comes, you will understand why this had to happen." The car stops. The gates close behind them. And as Claire steps into the house that will become her prison, neither of them knows that the truth, waiting for them on their wedding night, will tear this arrangement apart, because the lie Ethan believes he uncovered is not the most dangerous secret in this marriage. And this story has only just begun. Claire does not sleep that night. The guest room they place her in is larger than the apartment she grew up in. King-sized bed, floor-to-ceiling windows, soft lighting meant to calm nerves. Nothing about it feels comforting. It feels staged, controlled, like every inch of the room was designed to remind her who owns this house, and by extension, who owns her situation. She sits on the edge of the bed, still wearing her wedding dress. The lace feels heavier now, soaked with hours of shock and disbelief. Somewhere downstairs she hears footsteps, voices, the quiet efficiency of people who know exactly what they are doing and ask no questions. This is not a rescue. This is containment. When the door finally opens, Ethan does not come alone. A man in a tailored suit follows him, carrying a slim leather folder. Middle-aged, calm, the kind of man who has spent his career watching people sign away pieces of their lives. "Claire Whitmore," the man says politely. "I am Daniel Ross, legal counsel for Mr. Cross." Claire lets out a bitter laugh. "Of course you are." Ethan closes the door behind them. "You asked for answers," he says. "This is where they begin." Daniel sets the folder on the desk and opens it with practiced ease. Inside are documents already clipped, flagged, and waiting. "This agreement outlines the terms of your marriage to Mr. Cross," Daniel says. "It is valid under state law, provided both parties consent." Claire stands abruptly. "I do not consent to anything." Ethan's voice is steady. "You already did." Her head snaps toward him. "That paper you made me sign months ago, you told me it was a non-disclosure agreement." "And it was," Ethan replies. "Among other things." Daniel slides one page forward. Claire recognizes the signature instantly. Her own handwriting. Slightly shaky. Written on a day she had been exhausted, desperate, and out of options. Her chest tightens. "You said it was to protect my family," she whispers. "It is," Ethan says. "This marriage does exactly that." Claire looks down at the page. The words blur, but the meaning is unmistakable. Spouse. Term. Public representation. Confidentiality. Marriage. "You planned this," she says slowly. "You waited until tonight." "I gave you every chance to walk away," Ethan says. "You chose him." A sharp pain cuts through her anger. "Because you would not tell me the truth." Ethan does not deny it. Daniel clears his throat. "There are conditions," he says gently. "Strict ones." He lists them without emotion. "This marriage will be contractual. There will be no expectation of affection. Separate bedrooms will be maintained. Public appearances will be required when necessary. Personal history is not to be discussed with media or third parties. The duration is fixed. 2 years. At the end of that term, Claire will be free." Free. The word lands hollow. "And if I refuse?" Claire asks. Daniel hesitates, then looks to Ethan. Ethan answers himself. "Then everything you are trying to protect collapses by morning." Claire's hands tremble. "You are threatening me." "I am warning you," Ethan says. "The people involved in this are not patient. They will not stop at you." Silence stretches between them. Claire thinks of her mother, of the hospital bills, of the phone calls that stopped just short of saying the word accident, of the reason she signed that paper in the first place. She sinks back onto the bed. "So this is my choice," she says quietly. "Marry you or watch my family pay the price." Ethan's expression flickers. Just for a second. Something like regret. "Yes," he says. "That is the choice." Daniel places a pen beside the document. "You may take your time," he says, "but not too much." Claire stares at the paper, at the space waiting for her name. She feels the weight of the night pressing down on her, heavier than the veil still pinned in her hair. "This is not real," she says, more to herself than to them. "This is not a real marriage." Ethan meets her gaze. "It will look real to everyone who matters." Her laugh is soft, broken. You do not even pretend to care what I want. Ethan steps closer. What I want is irrelevant. What matters is what keeps you alive. Claire picks up the pen. Her hand does not shake this time. When she signs, it is not surrender. It is strategy. She looks up at Ethan, eyes clear, voice steady. Do not mistake this for weakness. Ethan nods once. I never do. As Daniel gathers the papers and leaves the room, the door closing softly behind him, the air between Claire and Ethan grows heavy with things neither of them are saying. Outside, the mansion settles into silence. Inside, a marriage begins. Not with vows, not with love, but with a signature that will change both of their lives long before the truth finally comes out. Morning arrives without warmth. Claire wakes to unfamiliar silence, the kind that presses against the ears. No traffic, no neighbors, no reminders that the world she knew still exists. Sunlight filters through sheer curtains, landing on furniture that looks untouched, as if the room itself has been waiting for her. A soft knock sounds at the door. A woman enters, professional and composed, introducing herself as Margaret, the house manager. She speaks gently but efficiently, explaining schedules, meals, security protocols. Claire listens without interrupting, already aware that none of this is optional. At the end, Margaret hesitates. Mr. Cross would like to see you in the study when you are ready. The study is on the first floor, past a hallway lined with framed magazine covers and awards bearing Ethan's name. Claire walks slowly, barefoot, her wedding ring still absent from her finger. She has not forgotten that detail. Ethan is standing by the window when she enters, phone pressed to his ear. He finishes the call without acknowledging her, then turns. You slept, he says. It is not a question. Enough, Claire replies. On the desk between them lies a small black box and a single sheet of paper. Ethan gestures to the chair across from him. We need to formalize boundaries. Claire sits, crossing her arms. You already did that last night. This is different, Ethan says. Last night was necessity. Today is structure. He slides the paper toward her. Rules. Clear. Precise. Unforgiving. They will present themselves as husband and wife in public, appear together at select events, dinners, galas, board functions. There will be no physical intimacy unless mutually agreed upon. Bedrooms will remain separate. No entering the other's private space without permission. No discussion of the agreement with anyone. And one final clause underlined. Wedding rings are to be worn at all times outside private quarters. Claire exhales sharply. So this is the costume. It is the symbol, Ethan replies. People look for symbols. She picks up the paper, scanning every line, searching for traps. And if I break a rule, Ethan meets her gaze. Then I stop protecting you. There it is. The leverage. Stated plainly. Claire sets the paper down. You are very confident for a man asking someone to trust him. I am not asking for trust, Ethan says. I am asking for compliance. She laughs, once humorless. At least you are honest. Ethan opens the black box. Inside rests a simple diamond ring. Elegant, expensive, carefully chosen to look timeless rather than flashy. Claire does not reach for it. This ring does not mean love, Ethan says, as if reading her thoughts. It means alignment. She looks at the ring, then at him. And to you I am just a problem that needed managing. Ethan's jaw tightens. You are a risk. One I decided to control rather than eliminate. Her eyes flicker. Eliminate. You misunderstand, he says. I mean exposure, destruction, things far messier than this. Claire studies him in silence, realizing something unsettling. He believes he is being merciful. Slowly she reaches for the ring. When she slides it onto her finger, the weight surprises her. Not because it is heavy, but because it feels permanent in a way the contract does not. Ethan watches closely. From this moment on, you are Claire Cross. She looks up sharply. No. The word lands between them. My name does not change, she continues. Not here. Not in private. You may use it in public if you need to sell the illusion. But you do not erase me. For a long moment Ethan says nothing. Then he nods. Agreed. It is the first concession he has made. A pause follows thick with unspoken rules being tested. "There is one more thing," Ethan says. "Tonight we attend a dinner." Claire raises an eyebrow. "Already, yes," he replies. "My board wants reassurance. They want to see stability. And I am that reassurance." "You are my wife," Ethan says evenly. "For now that is enough." She stands. "Then I need clothes. And time." "You have both," he replies. "Use them wisely." As Claire turns to leave, Ethan speaks again, quieter this time. "This arrangement ends cleanly if we both follow the rules." She stops at the door, and if one of us does not, Ethan's reflection stares back at her from the glass. Then it ends painfully. Claire leaves the study with her shoulders squared, the ring catching the light with every step. The rules have been set, the roles assigned, and somewhere beneath the careful structure Ethan has built a single truth begins to take shape. Fake marriages are easy to control. It is the human cost that never stays contained. The transformation does not happen all at once. It begins quietly with schedules and fittings, and people who smile too much. Claire spends the next 2 days moving through the mansion like a guest who has overstayed her welcome. Stylists arrive in the morning, consultants in the afternoon. A public relations director introduces herself as if this were a business merger, not a marriage built on leverage. They measure her, photograph her, ask questions they pretend are casual. "What designers do you prefer? Are you comfortable speaking at charity events? Do you have any allergies we should be aware of?" Claire answers carefully, choosing every word. She understands now that nothing here is accidental. Every detail will be documented, evaluated, used. Ethan appears only when necessary. He observes from a distance, as she is coached on posture and phrasing, on how to stand beside him without shrinking or challenging. He does not interrupt. He does not praise, but he notices. The first crack in his certainty appears during a rehearsal dinner. It is not public. No cameras. Just a long table set for executives, legal advisors, and 2 board members who insisted on meeting Ethan's wife in person. Claire enters the room in a simple dress, understated but elegant. No excessive jewelry, no attempt to impress. She meets each greeting with calm professionalism, listening more than she speaks. When one of the board members makes a pointed comment about her background testing for weakness, she does not bristle. She smiles. "I was raised to work hard and ask questions," Claire says. "It has served me well so far." The comment lands better than Ethan expects. Later, when a conversation drifts toward philanthropy, Claire does not recite rehearsed talking points. She speaks about programs she volunteered with before her life changed, about families who needed protection more than publicity. The table grows quiet. Ethan watches, surprised, as people lean in. She is not pretending. She is adapting. That night, as the dinner ends and guests depart, Ethan stops her in the hallway. "You did well," he says. Claire looks at him. "Was that part of the plan?" "No," he admits. Something shifts between them. Small, unnamed. The days that follow blur into a routine neither of them expected. Morning briefings, public appearances, controlled smiles, coordinated exits. Claire learns the rhythms of Ethan's world quickly. Which elevators to take, which names matter, which rooms demand silence. She asks questions when she does not understand, never apologizing for her curiosity. At the same time, she maintains distance. She does not enter his office uninvited. She does not linger after events. At night, she returns to her room, closing the door firmly behind her. Ethan notices. He also notices the absence of fear. She is cautious, yes. Alert, but not broken. One afternoon, as they prepare for a charity gala, a small mistake happens. A dress arrives that is too revealing, chosen by a stylist who misunderstood the tone Claire wanted to set. The room grows tense as assistants whisper. Claire studies her reflection, then calmly shakes her head. "This will not work," she says. The stylist hesitates. "Mr. Cross approved the designer." Claire turns, voice steady. "Then Mr. Cross can approve something else." All eyes move to Ethan. For a moment it feels like a test. Ethan steps forward. She is right, he says. Change it. The room exhales. Later, as Claire adjusts the replacement dress, she catches Ethan watching her in the mirror. You could have overruled me, she says. I could have, he agrees. But you did not. No. She meets his gaze. Why? Ethan pauses. Because you were right. It is not an apology. But it is acknowledgement. That evening at the gala, Claire handles herself with quiet confidence. When a donor becomes condescending, she redirects the conversation with grace. When a journalist probes too closely, she deflects without lying. Ethan stands beside her, offering little more than his presence. For the first time, he does not feel like he is managing a risk. He feels like he has a partner. The realization unsettles him. Later in the car, silence stretches between them. You are adjusting faster than expected, Ethan says. I do not have the luxury of falling apart, Claire replies. He nods, understanding more than he wants to admit. As the mansion gates close behind them that night, both of them carry the same unspoken thought. The rules are holding. The illusion is working. But something real is beginning to form beneath the surface. And neither of them is fully prepared for what happens when control gives way to truth. The first real test comes sooner than Claire expects. It happens at a public fundraising gala held at the Metropolitan Arts Center, an event attended by donors, press, and several members of Ethan's board. This is not a rehearsal. This is not controlled. This is where reputations are measured in real time. As the car pulls up to the entrance, camera flashes ignite the night. Claire inhales slowly, her hand resting lightly on Ethan's arm. The ring catches the light, doing exactly what it was designed to do. Sell the story. Inside, the room hums with conversation and polished laughter. Crystal glasses clink. Names are exchanged like currency. Claire recognizes several faces from magazines she once read on borrowed couches and late nights. Ethan leans closer. Stay near me, he says quietly. Let me handle the questions. Claire nods, but she does not cling. They make their way through the room, greeting donors and executives. At first, the attention is polite, curious. Then it sharpens. A woman in an ivory gown approaches her, smile too practiced to be sincere. She looks Claire up and down slowly. So you are the bride, she says. You appeared rather suddenly. Claire returns the smile. Life has a way of doing that. The woman chuckles softly. I suppose it does. Tell me, Claire, what exactly did you do before marrying Ethan Cross? The question hangs in the air, heavy with implication. Ethan opens his mouth to intervene. Claire speaks first. I worked, she says calmly. I volunteered. I paid my bills. I learned how to listen. Those things did not disappear when I got married. A flicker of surprise crosses the woman's face. Before she can respond, a man steps in. Older. One of the board members. His tone is sharper. Some of us are concerned, he says, not bothering to lower his voice. This marriage happened quickly. Investors do not like uncertainty. Claire meets his gaze steadily. Uncertainty comes from secrecy, she replies, not from commitment. The board member smiles thinly. And you believe you represent stability. I believe I represent honesty, Claire says. And if your concern is Ethan's focus, I can assure you he has not missed a single obligation since our marriage. All eyes turn to Ethan. He says nothing. He does not need to. The board member nods, slowly reassessing. We shall see. As the night progresses, the questions grow more pointed. A reporter asks about the wedding interruption. Another probes about Claire's past. Each time, Claire answers without deflection or defensiveness. She does not reveal more than necessary. She does not lie. Ethan watches from her side, something tightening in his chest. This was supposed to be simple. It is not. Later, during the main address, Ethan is called to the stage. As he speaks about the Foundation's mission, his eyes find Claire in the crowd. She stands alone, composed, absorbing scrutiny without shrinking. When applause fills the room, it is not only for him. After the speech, a donor approaches Ethan, shaking his hand firmly. Your wife is impressive, he says. You chose well. Ethan stiffens slightly. I did not choose her, he says automatically. The donor laughs. Even better. On the drive home, the city lights blur past the windows. Silence stretches between them. You did not need to step in, Ethan finally says. I could have handled it. Claire looks out the window. They were testing you through me. Yes, he admits. And you let them, she says. Ethan exhales. I wanted to see how you would respond. She turns to him. And now that you have, he pauses. You did not fail. That was never the goal, Claire replies. The car slows as they approach the gates. Inside the mansion, the night feels different, heavier, charged. Ethan stops near the staircase. They respect you, he says quietly. Claire meets his eyes. Do you? The question catches him off guard. I respect results, he says after a moment. She nods once. Then we understand each other. As she walks away, Ethan remains where he is, staring after her. The public test is over. Claire passed. And for the first time since this arrangement began, Ethan realizes something dangerous. She is no longer just playing the role. She is changing the game. The shift happens late at night. Not during an event, not under lights or cameras. It happens in the quiet hours when the mansion exhales, and even the security monitors hum more softly. Claire cannot sleep. She steps onto the balcony outside her room, wrapping a thin shawl around her shoulders. The city is distant from here, reduced to a faint glow on the horizon. For the first time in days, she allows herself to breathe without performing. Behind her, a door opens. Ethan steps out onto the adjacent balcony, a glass of water in his hand. He pauses when he sees her, as if unsure whether to retreat. Neither of them does. You are awake, he says. So are you, Claire replies. Silence settles between them, not tense, just cautious. The kind that waits to see who will speak first. Tonight was effective, Ethan says finally. Claire does not look at him. You mean I did my job? Yes, he says. Then after a beat, and more than that, she turns slightly surprised. Compliments are rare from him and never unguarded. You do not need to say that, she replies. I know, Ethan says. That is why I am. The city breeze moves through the space between them. Claire watches him closely now, noticing details she has tried to ignore. The faint tension in his shoulders. The way he stands as if even rest requires control. You do not sleep much, she says. Ethan almost smiles. Almost. Old habit. From what being? The only one who could not afford mistakes. Claire considers that. That sounds lonely. He does not answer right away. Lonely is inefficient, he says finally. But it is predictable. She leans against the railing. People are not systems, Ethan. No, he agrees. They are variables. And you hate variables. Yes. She studies him, then speaks carefully. Then why me? The question lands softly, but it lands. You could have silenced me, she continues. You could have paid someone else. You chose this. Ethan looks out over the dark grounds. Because you were already involved, he says. And because you did not ask for protection, you asked for time. That still does not explain the marriage. It does, he says. Time is easier to control when it is bound. Claire absorbs that. So I am a solution. At first, Ethan says. At first. The words echo. Claire exhales slowly. I do not like being owned. I am not trying to own you, he says. She turns to him fully. You already do. For a moment, Ethan looks like he might argue. Instead, he does something unexpected. I know, he says quietly. The admission hangs between them. That is why there are rules, he continues. Without them, this would become something I cannot manage. And what would that be? Claire asks. Ethan meets her gaze. His voice lowers. Personal. Claire feels the shift then. The dangerous edge beneath the control. This is already personal, she says. You just refuse to name it. Ethan looks away, jaw tightening. Naming things gives them power, and pretending they do not exist does not make them disappear. Silence stretches again. Thicker this time. Finally, Ethan sets his glass down. You should go inside. It is cold. Claire nods, but does not move right away. You are not the only one taking risks here, she says. I know you think this is one-sided. It is not. He looks at her, truly looks as if seeing the cost etched into her composure. "I know," he says. When Claire turns to leave, Ethan speaks again. "You handled tonight with integrity," he says. "That matters to me." She pauses. "Why?" He does not hesitate this time. "Because integrity cannot be bought." Claire gives a small nod, accepting the truth for what it is. She goes inside, closing the door softly behind her. Ethan remains on the balcony long after she is gone. For the first time since this arrangement began, he does not feel in control. He feels aware, and that realization unsettles him more than any threat ever has. The truth comes out on the night they least expect it. Not at a gala, not in front of cameras or board members. It happens behind closed doors in the quiet that follows obligation. The mansion is unusually still that evening. Dinner is brief, polite, careful. Claire excuses herself early, retreating to her room with a headache she does not bother to explain. The weight of the day presses behind her eyes. An hour later there is a knock. Ethan stands outside her door. "I need to speak with you," he says. Claire hesitates, then opens it enough to let him in. He does not sit. He does not pace. He stands near the window, hands clasped behind his back, posture rigid. "This ends tonight," he says. Her heart stutters. "What ends?" "The uncertainty," Ethan replies. "I received confirmation an hour ago." He turns to face her. His expression is unreadable, but his eyes are sharp with something she has never seen before. "Your story does not add up," he says. "And now I know why." Claire feels the air leave her lungs. "You hired someone to investigate me," she says. "Yes," Ethan answers. "I had to." She closes her eyes briefly. "Then you already know." "I know that the threat you claimed was not what you said it was," Ethan continues. "I know the money trail does not lead where you pointed me. And I know the man you were supposed to marry was never the one in danger." Claire opens her eyes. "Then you also know why I lied." Ethan steps closer. "I know you manipulated the situation. You let me believe you were protecting your family when in fact you were protecting someone else." Silence stretches heavy and brittle. "Say it," Claire whispers. Ethan's voice is cold. "You were covering for my best friend." The words land like a blow. "Yes," Claire says. "I was." Ethan laughs once, sharp and humorless. "You expect me to believe this was altruism?" "I expect you to believe the truth," Claire replies. "He is the one who made the deals you are trying to dismantle. He is the one who put those people in motion. If his name surfaced, the fallout would have destroyed more than him." "You chose to sacrifice yourself," Ethan says. "You let me take you instead." "I chose the lesser damage," she says. "I knew you would intervene. I did not know you would go this far." Ethan's jaw tightens. "You married me under false pretenses." "So did you," Claire fires back. "You never told me why you were really watching me months ago. You never told me what you already suspected." The room feels smaller, charged. "You used me," Ethan says quietly. Claire's voice breaks. "I trusted you to stop when you saw the truth." He turns away, the betrayal cutting deeper than he wants to admit. This marriage, Ethan says, his back to her, was built on a lie. "Yes," Claire agrees. "Just not the one you think." The words hang between them, dangerous and unresolved. Outside, the night presses against the windows, indifferent. Inside, everything they have built cracks open at once. And for the first time since the wedding night that never happened, both of them understand the same devastating truth. The lie was never about love. It was about loyalty. And someone else is about to pay the price. The reckoning does not wait for morning. Ethan acts before doubt can soften his resolve. By dawn, the mansion is alive with movement. Calls are placed. Meetings are summoned. Security protocols shift. The calm precision Claire has come to associate with Ethan now carries an edge she has never seen. He does not look at her when he says it. "I am ending this." Claire stands near the doorway, arms folded tightly across her chest. "Ending what?" "The protection," Ethan replies. "The silence, the concessions." She swallows. "And me," that makes him turn. "You are no longer part of the bargain," he says. "Not like this." Within hours, Ethan convenes an emergency board meeting at his headquarters. Executives gather confused by the urgency. Lawyers line the walls. Documents are distributed. Screens light up with transactions, shell accounts, timelines that tell a story no one in the room expected to hear. Ethan stands at the head of the table, his voice steady. "The illegal partnerships we have been investigating do not originate outside this company," he says. "They originate here." A murmur ripples through the room. He names names, and then he names the one that changes everything. His best friend. The room goes silent. "This is a personal matter," one board member protests. "You cannot." "I can," Ethan cuts in. "And I will." He lays out the evidence. Every transfer, every forged signature, every favor traded for silence. There is no room left for denial. By the end of the meeting, legal teams are mobilized. Authorities are contacted. The alliance Ethan once trusted is dismantled piece by piece. He walks out alone. That evening, Ethan returns to the mansion and finds Claire waiting in the study. The contract lies on the desk between them, the same pages that bound her life to his. "It is done," he says. "He cannot hurt anyone else." Claire studies his face. "And the marriage," Ethan reaches for the contract. He tears it cleanly in half. Then again. Then again. "This ends now," he says. "You are free." The word hangs in the air, fragile and final. Claire feels her throat tighten. "Just like that." "No," Ethan says. "Not just like that." He looks at her fully without defenses. "I was wrong," he continues. "I thought control was the same as protection. It is not. I thought sacrifice was something I could decide for you. It was not." He sets the torn papers aside. "I am asking you for nothing," Ethan says. "No agreement. No obligation. No role to play." Claire's voice is quiet. "And if I leave, then I will accept it," he answers. "Because this time the choice is yours." Silence stretches between them, filled with everything they have survived. Claire steps forward, not touching him but close enough to feel the truth of his words. "You should know something," she says. "If I stay, it will not be because you freed me." Ethan nods. "I understand. It will be because you finally stopped trying to own the outcome." She turns toward the door, then pauses. "I need time," Claire says. "You have it," Ethan replies. As she walks away, the mansion feels different. Lighter. Uncertain. Behind her, Ethan remains standing in the study, surrounded by the wreckage of power he chose to surrender. For the first time, he does not wonder how to control what comes next. He wonders if he deserves it. Time passes quietly after that. Not days marked by drama or confrontation, but by absence. Claire leaves the mansion without ceremony, taking only what belongs to her. No guards stop her. No conditions follow. Ethan does not try to convince her to stay. For the first time since the night she was taken from the cathedral, her life moves forward without anyone deciding the direction for her. Weeks later, the news breaks. Ethan Cross publicly steps down from several leadership roles while remaining involved only where accountability is required. His company survives the scandal bruised but intact. His former best friend does not. Charges are filed. Partnerships dissolve. Silence replaces the loyalty that once protected him. Ethan does not comment. He works. He answers questions. He accepts consequences. And then one evening Claire returns. Not to the mansion. To a small gallery opening on the east side of the city, one Ethan almost does not attend. The invitation arrives without explanation. No signature. Just a time and an address. Inside, the space is modest. Warm lighting. Local artists. People talking softly, not because they are impressed, but because they are present. Claire stands near the back, speaking with a woman whose hands are stained with paint. She looks different. Lighter. Not because life is easy, but because it is hers again. Ethan does not approach right away. When she finally notices him, she does not look surprised. "You came," she says. "You invited me," he replies. They stand a few feet apart, no longer bound by proximity or obligation. "I wanted you to see what I chose," Claire says. Ethan looks around. "This suits you." She smiles. "It does." A pause follows. Not awkward. Honest. I am not here to apologize again, Ethan says. I already did that when it mattered. I know, Claire replies. That is why I am here. She reaches into her bag and pulls out the ring, the one she wore to sell the illusion. She places it gently on the table between them. I do not need this anymore, she says. Ethan nods. Neither do I. They leave it there. As the night winds down, they step outside together. The city hums around them, indifferent and alive. I am not asking you for anything, Ethan says. Not forgiveness, not a future. Claire looks at him, truly looks. Good. She takes a breath, because if there is anything between us now, it will not be a contract. No, Ethan agrees. It will be a choice. They walk for a while side by side, not touching, not promising. And when they part ways, it is not with certainty. It is with respect. The fake marriage ended the moment the contract was torn. What remains is something neither of them controls, and for the first time that feels right.